Hello everybody. Continuing with our Microvellum configuration setup, I'll show you how to create and set up a new local configuration using the files that we got from the export video where Jacob showed us how to create or how to get the files for a new configuration. Everything that he exported is right here. Basically, you'll need a couple things. One thing that we have here at the office in Duckworks is a starter configuration. We use this every time we create a new config, basically having a base configuration, a clean slate that you can use to import all the components from the new configuration. You will also need Microvellum SQLC viewer because there are some steps that we'll need to do in there. And with that said, I'll show you basically what it is that we do. Before we get started, I'll show you something very important. In our base configuration, if I open up the Microvellum factory using the Microvellum SQLC viewer, you'll see here, once I have opened the Microvellum factory database using the SQLC viewer, if you browse through libraries, we have a library in this configuration called Duckworks Starter, and it has a link ID of 1234DW. This link ID is very important because once you import a new library into this configuration, if both libraries share the same link ID, like the one you're importing and the one that you have in your clean slate configuration, the one that you're importing will change to something else, as there can be no two libraries with the same link ID. So my recommendation is before you start importing stuff into your new library, into your new configuration, is that you make sure that you change the link ID. You can do this through Microvellum SQLC viewer. If you just double click here on the cell, you can name it whatever you need, and it will change the link ID. I'll have here my base configuration, which is located in my C drive. It's called Network Starter Configuration. You'll see that I have all the necessary folders. I have clipboard, drawing templates, factory database, graphics, which are the main things that we need to have. And I have here the files that were exported from the configuration that I want to create. The first thing I usually do is copy all the information from the configuration that we want to set up into the slate that we're using. So I'll just replace files in destination. I'll do this for clipboard. I'll copy any drawing templates that I might have gotten from this particular client or configuration I need. I'll replace all the files that need to be replaced because I want the latest data. I'll do the same in graphics, just copy, paste graphics folders. And if it asks me if I want to overwrite anything, I'll click yes to make sure I have whatever is the latest edit to any block or AutoCAD file in there. Now, once it's done copying, I'll open up Microvellum. Once I have Microvellum open, the first thing I'll usually do is copy. I'll go right here into Manage Configurations, and I'll copy the Duckworks Starter configuration. I'll edit, and I'll name it New Configuration. Okay, I'll close. I'll grab the new configuration and continue. Okay, I'll go to Toolbox, Setup. There we go, Import. I'll go to my desktop. I'll open the files that I got from my client or whoever sent me these files. I'll go into the database exports. I'll grab the Microvellum export, and okay. The first thing the Microvellum will ask me when I import this file is if I want to select all database records. I'll click no, just because I want to select them one by one. And like I said, the first thing that we're going to import is the library. So I'm going to go ahead and check that. I'll remove the materials and make sure that I'm only importing the library, and I'll transfer. Click OK. Okay. Once the library has been imported, what I will do is I will close the database manager and I'll restart Microvellum. I do this because since I imported a new library, I want to basically refresh the configuration. As you can see here right now, our current library is backward starter, but that will change once I restart Microvellum. Here, I've gone ahead and restarted Microvellum. And as you can see, our current library is now the Imperial Component Cabinet Library, which means that this library has been successfully imported. So I could go back to options, but there's also a command that you can use, database utilities. I'll take you right into the exporting layout. Okay. Click import again. I'll go and search for my export. Click no. And now, since I already have imported my library, the next thing I'm going to import is products. So depending on how many products you have, you want to do this in phases, because if you do it all at once, your Microvellum might crash. There is too much information. Same thing for subassembly, same thing for materials, depending on how much data you have. If this is around 1000, I'll usually do it in 2 steps. I'll go ahead and find a drawer base, and I'll import this hash first and then do the second hash. This will ensure that I don't have any issues that my Microvellum won't unexpectedly close. So the first thing it's going to ask me is if I want to, how do I want to resolve duplicate items? I'll always choose replace, because even though these items belong to different libraries, since they share the same names, the Microvellum will always ask me how I want to handle them. Usually replace is the best option. Once it's done importing, I'll get this message, import completed, and I can resume with the rest of the items. Usually this will take quite some time. Depending on the number of items you have, it might take from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. So you just gotta let it run. After I go through products, I'll go through subassemblies, same thing, select everything or select by groups, then transfer, then move up to materials. Usually materials is something that you want to do. If you have, let's say, 9,000 materials, you'll want to do at least 3 different imports to make sure your Microvellum doesn't freeze and close. After materials, I'll go ahead and do reports if there are any reports that I think are necessary. Then I can do processing station and tool files at the same time. There is no issue there. And once I've gone through and imported each of these components, if there are any projects that I've gotten as a sample, I'll go ahead and import that as well. So you just gotta make sure to do each of these, each separate category by itself to avoid any issues with Microvellum. Okay, so I go ahead and imported each of these components. The next thing we'll want to do is basically a verification. We'll want to go into the configuration that we just imported to, open the Microvellum factory using the SQLC viewer. And we will also open the factory of the configuration that we imported. So if I go here, local configuration, this is the configuration that I got from my client or the one that I want to create. I'll go into factory database and I'll also open this Microvellum factory. So this is the one we have in our C drive that we just created. Basically what I want to check is make sure that the library, this one, the Imperial Component Cabinet Library 050.7, has the same link ID as the one present in the configuration that I'm using as a base or the one that I got from my client. So as you can see, this ID right here should match what I got sent in this one. This is, I'll put them side by side. Again, this is what I have in my C drive that I just created right now. And this is the one that I got either from my client. And as you can see, the link ID in both configurations match. So this is very important because if they don't match, you're going to have issues, compatibility issues with the person that is going to get the export from you. So these two should absolutely match 100% all the time. So now that we know that we're good, I will close the one that we're using as a base, and I'll keep the one that we are creating open. We need to go into the factory component. As you can see here, there is a workbook in this factory workbook it's called. And what we'll do is we'll use from the configuration files that we're using to create a new configuration. In database exports, we place the F workbook. And this is something that doesn't get added with the import of each component, and we have to do it manually. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go into workbook, right click, import file from disk. I have my files in my desktop. I'll open the database exports, F workbook, open. And it's basically going to import. Then right click, update. And it's going to tell me that it has been successfully updated. This step is also important because if you don't have the right factory workbook, either from your client or from whoever sent you these configuration files, it's possible that you're going to be missing some components. I'll close this. I'll go back to Microvellum. Another thing that we like to do here is go to Options, Database Explorer. And basically, what we're going to do is import the template files that we got from whoever sent us the configuration. As you can see in the database exports, we have several files here that are for the specification groups. So what we'll do is we'll open Imperial Component Library, specification groups. We'll see that we already have files here. This is the configuration present in our computer. This is the one that we're creating. And if I go here and find the files that I need, basically in my desktop, these files are the same that I have here. What I'll do is I'll grab each one of them and I'll move them here and I'll use them to replace whatever I have previously in my configuration. So I'll just come here and I can just drop them into the spec group. It's going to tell me that this component is shared between different specification groups. I'll say yes. And I'll do that for each one of these that I got from the person who sent me those files. Just drag and drop. Once that is complete, I'll just close the configuration and restart it. I'll pause here for a second. Since I created a new configuration, what I can do now is I can export the file into the configuration folder. This is going to be the locator basically for complete. So if now I go into my C drive and I go into the configuration folder, I'll see that I have now here the .mvg new configuration file that I can use when I share this configuration with another person. They can use now this file to import the configuration into their system. That's basically it. My recommendation after having created a new configuration and check that the library link ID is a match with the one that you got from whoever sent you your configuration files. You should create a project, place some products in it, pull some elevations, pull some sections, and export that project. It's a test project, and have whoever sent you those files open that export on their side. Make sure that they're able to access the prompts of any products that you place there. Make sure they can see everything that you see on your side, just to verify that the things that you created are a match with what they have. Because worst case scenario, you draw a bunch of products, you work on the whole project, and if you don't run these tests first, you might find that when you do the export, they cannot either access the projects, or they cannot access the prompts, or the product seem broken. So running a test is always essential, an essential part for process to make sure that what we're going to send at the end of the project is going to be usable for our clients. I hope this has been useful. If you have any questions, you can always email us, and we're happy to help. But that's basically. Thank you.